Hi, my name is India. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about my reading goals and TBR for 2025. I want to put lipstick on. Hold on. There we go. I feel whatever that is. So let's start by talking about my goals for the year. And then we're going to talk about my bingo board and my TBR, which is very much linked to my bingo board. Where do I want to put this? We'll put this there. Beautiful. I have 6 goals. Well, okay. I want to read 100 books. There's that. Technically, I have 7 goals, but I want to read 100 books. I think that this is the year that I do that, and no one can tell me otherwise. I am gonna do it. I'm gonna meet that goal. I'm gonna read so much. I'm gonna be a reading machine. But there are things that I want to track every month that have to do with my reading. So first of all, I want to read books before their release date. I work occasionally as a bookseller, which means I have access to ARCs, mostly that I read through my Kindle. And I just want to, I think it'd be nice to at least once a month read a book that's coming out that month or the next month, just so that I am A, staying on top of like what is coming out, and B, like I'm reading books that are coming out in this year, in 2025. I'd like to read at least 12 nonfiction books. That's not true. I have 1 nonfiction book between the 2 of these stacks. And so maybe I need to think more about what nonfiction books I want to be reading. I want to continue in some series. I think that this is doable. Whether I'm continuing in some monster romance series or continuing in some fantasy or sci-fi series, or starting some fantasy sci-fi series that I continue in. Yeah, I just want to read series and not just abandon them. I want to keep track of the new books that I acquire. I didn't keep track last year, but I also don't feel like my cats are eating the plants. I don't feel like I acquired that many new books, but yeah, I just want to keep track of it. I want to read for vlogs. I want to actually be consistent about editing and uploading videos, because there's a lot that I film that doesn't end up on here. So I actually want to commit to editing and uploading. And sometimes I just get frustrated at the editing process. I will say that. And then I want to try different random book selection processes, or like I want to track how many times I read something because a random generator picked it. So this could be, I list all the books on my TBR that start with the letter A, and then I put them on a random generator and it picks it, and I will read that book. I think I just would like to have more fun with my reading and want to use this to potentially keep myself going so that I can read 100 books. Now we have my bingo board, or should I say my bingo boards. I created a bingo board for every season, and I feel really happy about it. They're super cute in my opinion. This is what the winter one looks like, and that's what I'm going to be focusing on first, because we are in winter time. This has prompts ranging from specific book titles to specific genres to the specific way that I read a book. So we've got horror on there, a loved author, a book over 400 pages, a book published before 1997, because I want to also be reading books that were published before I was born. Literary fiction, ARCs, ALCs, which are advanced listener copies, things like that. Books with a black cover, books with yellow covers. Everything is on here. And my hope is that each season I will get at least a bingo, if not more than one bingo. So that is that. And then I will show you, so that's what the winter one looks like. Here's the spring one. Very cute, very gorgeous. Here's the summer one. We're channeling Barbie. We're channeling love. And then here's the fall one. Very fall, very cute. And that leads us to my stacks of books that I have. I have a stack of books that has to do with the specific books that come up on my reading, on my bingo boards. Like, they are listed as specific titles I want to read. And then I have books that pertain to specific authors that I want to read. So let's start with the specific books. I'm gonna put this over there. First of all, we have Everyone in This Room Will Someday Be Dead by Emily Austen. This will be the third of Emily Austen's books that I will read, and this is, I believe, her first book that came out. This is about a atheist lesbian who gets a job at a Catholic church, and I love interesting facts about space. It was my favorite book of last year. Not the biggest fan of her newest title, but I think that's just because some of the content is a little too close to home. Which, saying that sounds a little bit strange, because the reason why I loved Interesting Facts About Space is because the content was really close to home. So I'm hoping that I will love this one. I've heard great things about it. Next we have Wide Sargasso Sea by Jean Rhys. This is a retelling of Jane Eyre from the perspective of a character who we meet. Then I have Delta of Venus by Anais Nin. I believe this is a piece of prominent erotic fiction. I had a feeling that Pandora's box contained the mysteries of woman's sensuality, so different from man's, and for which man's language was inadequate. The language of sex had yet to be invented. One of my favorite courses that I took was about early erotic fiction, and I continue to be curious about how erotic fiction has evolved, and specifically, we didn't really read a lot of fiction written by women. So stepping into something a bit more modern, you know, the 20th century, but still, you know, in that vein of writing. We then have The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnim. I want to read this in April, and I wanted to read this last year in April, and I didn't get around to it. This is about some women who go on holiday in Italy, I want to say. And it's supposed to be lovely. Like, this is supposed to be a feel-good book. It's supposed to be delightful. It's supposed to be a recipe for happiness. And I'm looking for nothing but recipes for happiness. Then I want to read The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. I've been wanting to step into Becky Chambers' writing for a really long time, and I think this is the year that I do that. This is a sci-fi book about a, like, kind of found family cast of characters in space. That's what I know. Then I want to step into Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. How long is this? This is 650 pages. I was about to say, good thing I have a challenge on my bingo boards to read a book over 400 pages, but I can't double up my challenges. So we will have to see about that. This is Mistborn. It is, like, so renowned. Brandon Sanderson is so renowned in terms of science fiction and fantasy. I guess more fantasy. And I think it's time that I read this. The last book is Childhood by Dove Didlitson, which is the first in her kind of autobiographical trilogy, Childhood, Adolescence, and Youth? I don't know. Oh, Childhood, the Youth, and Dependency. This is in her Copenhagen trilogy. And this first volume in the Copenhagen trilogy is a visceral portrait of girlhood, female friendship, told with lyricism and vivid intensity. But I know that later books talk about, like, addiction and stuff like that. I have words. Let's move on to some of the authors that I want to read. These are kind of not backwards, but they're going from authors that I'm like, ooh, this feels like a fall author, into authors that I'm like, oh, I want to read this in, like, spring or winter. So first of all, we have Sarah Waters. I have Affinity and the Night Watch in these matching editions that I found at Goodwill. I really like Sarah Waters. I really like historical fiction. And I love a good queer historical fiction story. So here we go. Then we have Jeanette Winterson. I have Why Be Happy When You Could Be Normal, which is her memoir. And then I have Sexing the Cherry and The Passion. Look at these covers. I adore these covers. I adore Jeanette Winterson's writing. She just hits it out of the park every time. And I find that I've been, like, keeping my distance from her for no good reason. I want to rectify that. Then we have A.S. Byatt, who I have way more books than these two, but they are at my mother's house in Idaho. And so I want to read one of these. Elementals, which is a collection of short stories of fire and ice, and Still Life, which, stunning. I don't know what this is about. I saw that it's maybe part of a series, and I need to do some digging to see if that's something I need to abide by. But yeah, A.S. Byatt is just a novelist who I'm curious about. I tried to read The Possession by her, and wasn't a fan. But that doesn't mean that I won't like her other books. And if it turns out that I don't like her other books, that's okay, I can just get rid of them. I almost took a sip from this candle. It is cranberry. Here, have a sniff. What was I saying? Then we have Louise Erdrich. I am reading her Love Medicine series in a particular order that someone on YouTube recommended. And it's not necessarily the order of publication. So the next book that I have to read is Love Medicine, and then after that I believe is The Roundhouse. But I have both of these, and I just want to get to them. I have a feeling that as this series progresses and as I dip into more of her more recently published books, I'm going to be hooked in even more. Then, lastly, I want to read something by Willa Cather. I've got 4 books by her. We have Death Comes for the Archbishop, Lucy Gayheart, A Lost Lady, and My Mortal Enemy. She is a author who I'm just really curious about. I loved Maya Antonia, and just feel compelled to read more of her works, especially as a like queer American, early queer American author. So I believe that's everything that I have to say to you right now. Let me know if you are someone who likes to set goals for yourself. Wow, that's exactly the same question that I asked at the end of my like goal reflection video. But I am curious, do you like to set goals for yourself? If so, what are some of your 2025 goals? Are you someone with a numerical goal? Are you someone with a like percentage goal? Like, I want to read this percent of nonfiction books. Or are you someone who's trying to whittle down your TBR? I am somewhat trying to do that, but I also want to keep my reading open for new experiences through ARCs and Kindle Unlimited and just having fun with reading. So yes, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you when I see ya.